We're all set.
Cool.
What's up, guys? Art here with Justin, and it occurred to me a couple days ago that we did a Q&A 6 months ago.
Wow,
Which
really?
is right around the time we launched Overtake.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know at that time we talked about, hey, this would be cool to do every week or every month or whatever. Half a year later, I figured we'd kind of touch on it a little bit.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yep. And the reason this kind of came up also, well, first and foremost, I'm going to post the other video that we did 6 months ago in a link up here. That's our second best performing videos in terms of views. So people obviously liked it. Hopefully they'll like this as well. I think it's a good way to kind of intimately connect with you specifically.
Yeah, and like we said before too, I think it'd be great to get more questions on this video. So in the comments, if there's anything that's happened now in the last 6 months, 6, 7 months here, the start of Overtake, please post those up in these comments so we can hit on those in the next video.
Yeah, what I'd really like to do is a recap video, just where we've been, how we've been doing over the last 6 months. I think the big one is in a year since the inception of the company. We should sit down and really like have everyone here and talk about how it's going and future, past, present, whatever. But this also got brought on by the Reddit AMA that you did.
Yes. Yeah, that was pretty intense.
Yeah, I'd say so. So you want to give a little breakdown of what happened there? That was a few weeks ago. How did it come about?
What's that?
How did it come about?
It was just early on before we launched Overtake, it was one of those ideas. You know, we had the idea of doing a Q&A thing at the beginning like this, the very first one that did really well. And so my mind was always there like, well, Reddit would be a great place. And we didn't do a lot of Reddit stuff at the old company. So I thought, I personally am on Reddit a lot. So the groups over there, the subs over there, I'm part of. And so my mindset was maybe doing something with them, and AMA is a great way to do it. It's real, right? So you get unfiltered back and forth communication, which I love. And so I knew it would be intense, and it was. It was, I think we ended up doing like 6 hours. And I was laying on my couch or in my bed at home with my laptop, pounding as fast as I could do on the keyboard to get through, and I still didn't get to everybody. I almost got to everybody, but you know.
Because once it shuts off, you can't.
They shut you off. It's like there's a schedule, and it's 11 to 6 or whatever, and then as soon as 6, the mods shut it down. And so, but it was fun, and it's some of the same questions we answered on YouTube that first Q&A. Right. But I love that stuff. People have great questions, and so yeah. It was a smashing success for me. Right,
and it was a learning lesson and a bit of an I told you so for me from you, because I'm on social media all day for the company and for personal accounts, and I kind of understand how the fast-paced social media works, but Reddit, I've never really dedicated any amount of time to sitting down and reading through posts. Like sometimes I'll end up there, especially because we don't have forums anymore like Naziok. It seems like you end up on Reddit if you're trying to troubleshoot something or install something.
Yeah, and that's how I use it just personally, not even car stuff, is Google searching, right? Like you're trying to figure something out. You type in reddit.com space, whatever you're trying to figure out. And so that's how I personally use it for a lot of car stuff and personal life stuff, right? And so I do see it as that middle ground between forums and live stream, or live social media, quick stuff. And so it's just slower, and there's a lot more information there, and you can find it easily by searching it, right? So that's a big deal.
So I said it wouldn't be worth our time, and I was wrong. It was definitely worth our time.
Art doesn't know everything, believe it or not.
That's TBD. So what I have here is 10 questions that I pulled off of the AMA. I'm going to put the link for that down in the description in this video so you guys can check it out. If you want to read through all of them, you could spend 2 hours doing that. So we're going to do 10 here.
Okay. I think it's important for people to know too that this is cold. So this is part of what we do here is what made me cold is we don't prep any of this, right? And so I think even us talking about this, people think, yeah, right. But I think you get the most genuine and legitimate answers if they're important questions that you've thought of, just like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? So this is all cold. It's a great way to do things, and I wish more people actually did this. Sit down and just get, it's like the Reddit AMA, right? It's just, I didn't know what's coming up, and bam. So that's important for me.
Exactly. Yeah. I think more so than ever, we've kind of embraced our mistakes, and we're not perfect. We just talk, and some stuff we say is meaningful. Most of it isn't.
All right, shoot.
But yeah, hopefully these questions are meaningful, and you have a good answer to them. So number one, how did you go from posting, in quotations, would anyone be interested in X part in MySpace groups, to starting a company? So really, I guess around the basis of how did you go from nothing to something?
Okay, so at the very start, like you're talking about NASDAQ days.
Yeah, NASDAQ days
Okay.
back in the day.
Yeah, super easy is, so because I started doing just a service, porting and polishing, right? There was no product development or anything like that. When I was on NASDAQ, which you gotta remember, NASDAQ was a centralized location for, everybody was on NASDAQ. They might also be on their local club, but they're on NASDAQ, okay? So it's a massive amount of people. And so what I was doing was, because I was doing porting and polishing or wanting to get into it, I would just follow threads where people were talking about it. Or if some of you people were asking, what could I do? I don't have enough money for an aftermarket header. You know, what are the options? I would then respond, hey, let's chat, I'll PM you, because I wasn't a vendor, right? Like I had no money to pay NASDAQ $100 a month to be a sponsored vendor. And so it was all through PM, and that's how it really got started. And because NASDAQ was so huge, that really took off. And I just need one person to post up a thread that they got this porting and they went to the dyno and it did this, and Justin helped me out. And that so many people see those threads because of the size of it. And so that's really how it started. That was the infancy of getting the word out. But it started with me responding to other people's threads. Hey, I can help you out with this. Let me message you, or giving my expertise in that thing.
Yeah, and I see the opportunity if you have an entrepreneurial brain and you start seeing the same questions pop up, that's a need that needs to be filled.
Totally.
So, okay, this guy, if there's one port and polish thing, that's not a business. But if there's 24, all of a sudden the gears start turning.
And for me, it started with myself, right? It's like, okay, this is a free mod if I learn how to do this. I mean, all you need is an air compressor and a die grinder. And so having a free mod, that's how I really got into it. It's like, oh, I want to do this myself. I don't have a grand, you know, as a 21-year-old at the time, or 23-year-old, 24-year-old at the time, to do this. So that's how I got into porting and polishing myself, is, hey, basically free mod, let's do everything.
And I assume you would do like intake manifold and TGVs first?
Yeah.
You know, it's
so
funny.
exhaust manifold was probably the very first. Basically just port matching everything, and then intake manifold, yes, and TGV deletes were a huge seller.
It just makes me think of it's a time and place thing, because now you have plastic intake manifolds.
Yeah,
you
it's all
can't
different.
port and polish them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you could bore them out, but they're probably matched better. I haven't looked at them.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
And
So that's interesting. And then I was also thinking with NASDAQ, how many careers that forum launched.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Maybe it was the inception for some, like yourself, or maybe somebody had already started a Subaru business and then it just kind of rocketed them in front of a larger audience.
Yeah.
I think all the major manufacturers now probably in some shape or form started at NASDAQ.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a lot easier, I would say, because even us with Overtake, right, we're trying to figure out, like, where are we putting our attention? Yeah. Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it Reddit? Is it Facebook?
Turns out to be everything.
Yeah,
all
everything.
at once.
So now you have to manage all of it, versus before it was mainly just NASDAQ.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to pay attention to like regional, clubs and stuff, that was something that I did that went up kind of above and beyond, was actually spending the time on those smaller clubs too. Yep. But yeah.
Cool. Well, I thought we'd start off with that question because it kind of covers the past, and in past videos we've lingered about what it took to get here, what you went through. So I figure we move a little bit more forward and talk more relevant to Overtake. So question number 2, why won't you sell downpipes for Subarus anymore? Can't companies just slap a for track use only and not have any US EPA issues?
Yeah, I think we all kind of somewhat have an idea of the answer of this. We used to be able to do that for off-road use only, and that
Those were the days.
Those were the days, which it was everybody know that was BS, right? Like if you're in it, you're like, oh, that's BS. And so that went away. That wasn't a valid reason anymore. And so EPA started finding people, right? Companies that were selling these products, that you're removing the catalytic converters or changing them, and so we at our old company got fined a huge amount. And I've had a lot of stories of our old buddies who own small shops who are getting fined as well. So even the smallest guys, 1-2-man shops are getting fined by the EPA, which I think is just insane. But that's the real reason. We've built such an amazing company so far, even just in 7 months. There's no way I could make the decision to risk this giant fine or attention, or our attention away from building the company, where now we have to figure out EPA lawsuit, all this kind of stuff. So to me, it's not worth it. There are still people that are doing it. Obviously, you can get J-pipes and stuff. I have no idea how they're not fined yet. It probably is a matter of time. And so until something changes with the EPA, if there's less agents to be able to do this, then you might see it opening back up. But I think we might be past that at this point.
Yeah, so it's really tough. I mean, especially if you're not like grandfathered into the system, then starting fresh with exhaust products like that, especially ones that go against EPA regulations, just may never happen.
Yeah, no, trust me. I wish we could do it for you guys. I mean, it's a big power gainer, and it's an awesome part to have. But it's just can't take the liability, the risk with it.
Exactly.
So.
Okay, quick pause while we changed batteries on our mics, but on to question number 3. Outside of just spending money on your products, what specifically can a customer do to help ensure Overtake ends up as big as GS?
Spread the word.
Yeah, that is huge.
So the biggest thing I can see right now is on all those social channels that we're talking about, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, a lot of questions get asked like, what gasket should I buy, or which hood struts, or which this and that, right? So one of the biggest things right now is speak up for us, because our other company has a 20-year head start. And we did really well in our customer service, and everything was amazing, and we had this amazing thing, right? So a lot of those who should I buy from questions have our old company. And so we're competing against that right now, because I think a lot of people don't know the story, right? And so they know what we used to be. And so posting up, Overtake gaskets are the best. And if you want to support the guys that ran that old company or that are enthusiasts themselves, this is the company you want to buy for. So I think more than just posting up, buy Overtakes, give them a little bit of reason why. Like it even can be one sentence, right? But just let them know, like, these are the guys you want to go to for this reason. And so I think that'll help get the story out, get of who we are. So.
To me, the most important thing is being genuine about it. And what's really nice is I have been seeing a lot of that, and it never feels forced or faked.
Oh, yeah.
People will get our product, and they can feel the quality. It meets the need that they have for their car, and then by leaving a review, by sharing it, by hopping on a forum where somebody has talked about it and they have experience, then they can genuinely offer that advice to the community.
Exactly. And obviously, if you didn't like our part, you don't need to be forced to post it up. So it's what you liked about it, and why, and if you have it yourself. But also, if you're in the scene, you know who the quality manufacturers are, and that put that time behind it. So just getting that word out. I mean, that's the biggest thing right now, is posting up and responding to those questions on social media. So.
Yeah, and speaking of social media, I mean, this does go against the question because it asks if outside of just spending money, but if you have spent money on an Overtake product and you've gotten it, a huge part of it, which we've seen a ton of, is doing an unboxing video, doing a post with impressions, maybe installation and an overview. That's huge because we don't have a big marketing department. It's really just like 1.5 people, and we're juggling a lot of hats here. And so we do as much as we can for videos like this, for product overviews and introductions, but at the end of the day, most of my time is interacting with you guys on social media, whether it's on DMs or comments. So creating a bunch of product posts is always a challenge for a small company like us, and you guys are supplementing that side of it. And so I'm able to take media that you've created, shared across our pages, and then it's kind of a win-win for everyone because people get to see your work, and hopefully your account grows in tandem with ours.
Absolutely.
And so far, it's so good. It's been awesome.
I mean, we have those days where we're so busy, we can't get to a post. The first thing we go to, right, is what we were tagged in and who shared a story and this kind of stuff. So it's right there for us. So when you tag us in or take us in a story or in a post, we see that, and a lot of them we actually at least post to our stories, and some of them we'll post to our grid. So we definitely do that. We're looking at it every day. So keep that up.
It's awesome. This is maybe sharing too much information, but there was a point in time with Overtake when we were creating the foundation of it that we went, well, wait, what if nobody reshares any of it? What if nobody tags us? What if nobody does an installation video? Like, are we just going to be crickets in the community?
Yep.
And we're so thankful that it's the opposite of that. Right now, I'm sitting with our social media schedule, and there's too much to post because I can't repost 5 different VA WRXs in a day because it's going to look ridiculous.
So we have this marketing Google Calendar that has these like to-dos and tasks that Art uses to tell us what's going to happen. Like, so we kind of know as a team what is he posting or what is he shooting tomorrow so we can be around or help. And it just gets bigger and bigger because there's so much, and you just keep moving forward. Everything.
Yeah, I'm just dumping. It's becoming a monster, but it's good because we could draw content out of that, and it's exactly what we wanted. And again, that was the fear that I had was I'm going to look at this calendar and there's just nothing. And I'm like, I haven't posted in 5 days and there's nothing to post.
Yeah, it was crazy the ramp up. I remember you were worried. You were saying worried that there wasn't going to be anybody sharing anything or tagging us. And when you go to the tags on Instagram, right? Or when you go to search on Instagram and put hashtag overtake.
Overtake USA.
Yep. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, there's 500. And then I remember the day you're like, there's over 1,000 already. And that was like early on. And so at that point we knew like, okay, we're getting some traction. Yeah.
Instagram, when you go to type in hashtag whatever, in Overtake USA in our case, it'll say this has been tagged over 1,000. Yeah. And my guess is that it says over 10,000. We haven't gotten there quite yet. But if you guys want to keep supporting us in that way, hashtag Overtake USA and then at Overtake USA for posts. We can reshare that a lot easier because we see it. First thing I do when I get in and boot up my computer is I get on all the social medias and we start seeing what content you guys posted overnight. So keep doing it. All right, next question. What do you like to do and how do you think you can make the Subaru community a better place?
That's a big part of my entire job. So what do I like? What was the first part? What do I like to do?
What do you like to do? That's a very broad question.
Okay. I can answer this because this can be an in-depth question where we don't, so I was a huge Subaru nerd for a long time. Locally, I helped grow the local club. I was really passionate about it. I had a lot of friends early on. I spent a lot of time wrenching, swapping, anything you can think of, we did it, I did it. And I spent a lot of years doing that. However, when I got into it as a career, my passion turned into, I just simply didn't, first of all, I didn't have the time to wrench as much as I did. That's all there is to it. We were so successful that all my time that wasn't allocated to my family was working on a Subaru company, right? And so what I like to do is, I still like wrenching on cars, still don't have time like I used to. I don't know if I ever will, right? Because you're young, you have no responsibility hardly at all, and all the time in the world. But what I like to do is create a company like Overtake. It is what I like to do in the Subaru market. I love the cars, love everything about them. I don't wrench 4 hours a day. That's not where I'm at, right? My outlet is creating a company that you guys respect deeply. So how do you do that? That's what I like to do as far as in this realm of being a car guy. I'm the car guy that's not necessarily wrenching anymore every day. However I can. If we need to do stuff, I'm here to help, and we do it. It's how to make a company in this community that's a really genuinely awesome company that helps support the community. That's what I like to do.
I've always seen you as a bit of a facilitator because in the case of there are people that all they want to do all day is wrench on a car.
Yep.
And so you can hire that person. If you're starting a company, that's a piece of the puzzle. I think Chase comes to mind, our lead engineer.
Oh, yeah.
He just loves engineering.
That's a really good question.
Like if you put Chase, if you told Chase to set up a website, he'd go crazy. If you told Chase to do social media content and posts, he'd probably hate that.
Yeah.
But if it's designing a product for 8 hours.
Exactly. And to me, actually, at the old company, I was a bit hesitant. After I got further away from wrenching, knowing the nuances of every single part and how it fits on the newest generation or whatever, that started distancing from me as being an expert in it. So I was a little hesitant to even like going to car shows or getting on camera because I felt like people would look at me like I need to know every single thing about the newest generation. And so that was a little bit of an insecurity for myself. Right. As I got further away from it, I wasn't the expert. But where I'm really good in that, like the nuances of how a product should fit or work or how it fits into a system is listening to you and to Chase talk and being there and thinking outside the box. So when we're talking about a intake that we were just talking about right before shooting this video, I am good at and really love trying to think outside the box, seeing what other people did, like what ETS did or what our old company did, like what's out there. I can see that quickly, and then figuring out why are we doing this? We don't have to do it this way. We're doing it just because everybody else And so there's almost like I'm a little bit removed, which allows me to question that, does that make sense or not? So I really enjoy doing that too. But
along those lines, it's amazing how many times we look at something and go, wow, that is just the stupidest design.
Yep.
Why would they be doing it this way for the past 15 years?
Yep.
And mostly it's because they did it one time, whatever engineer made that decision, they stuck with it, and there was never a revision.
it is amazing some of the things that stick around. It's like a decade.
Yeah.
Like they like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did that for 15 years. And you hear me spouting about that now is like the foundation we're setting now with these products, do it as if this isn't going to change for 20 years.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you some of these things, these attributes for these products are actually not going to change for 20 years.
Right.
That will happen. So that's why we put so much engineering time. That's why we're not the quickest to the market, right? We put all this thought and energy into it, knowing if we keep growing and we keep getting busier and busier, we might not look at this product again for a long time. So let's make it really good right now, which is this intake we were working on.
It's the intake and everything across all of our products. I can't think of a single one where there's an attribute that irks me. And that used to happen all the time. I mean, you have 500 items, there's gonna be 5 to 10 where you just hate talking about them, you hate troubleshooting it, you don't like how they install, like there's just rough edges on some of them.
Yep.
We don't have that yet. Knock on wood that we won't ever have that.
Yep.
Because we can have some foresight.
Did we answer
on it.
the whole question?
No, the second part of it was how do you think you can make the Subaru community a better place?
It's just everything we're doing. Being involved is the biggest thing, is being in the community. We're not here to force products down your throat. We're here to make the community a better place, and there's so many ways to do that. You know, the first thing goes to sponsor program is support racers, support people, influencers who the Subaru culture is their life, right? So how can we support those people? And you could say, oh, you're just trying to like market your self. Yes, we clearly we want to put a banner on your car so you can drive around your town and give us marketing. But it's supporting you and doing something you love,
Right.
and which is supporting us doing something we love, right? And so the sponsor program, I think we were just talking about it, the amount of time put in engineering, of evolving the community as far as like particular in engineering parts. How do we evolve that? How do we make them faster, stronger, all that kind of stuff, right? And so that's kind of like a hidden, like how are we improving the community? That's one of the ways, right? And the other is, that I can think of off the top of my head here, is this amazing customer service. And you understand my level of how we should treat people more than anybody that's ever been at our old company or now. That's all there is to it. You and I click of, it's just the way we treat people and how we try to help out, whether it's our part or not our part, is so much better than a vast majority of companies. That's all there is to it. So if we can be this genuinely supportive company, it makes our community better because of it. It makes them more interested in wanting to buy parts from us or just learn from us. And this whole culture becomes better because we're trying to be that positive influence and help support the entire community. So, did that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense to me. I
Okay.
mean, my mind goes back to when you hire a bunch of enthusiasts, we think like enthusiasts. And so to me, the reason that I can be on that level of support and customer service is because that is my best case scenario and best version of what I would expect from a company that I'm buying parts from.
Yep.
And so, I mean, we even had it wasn't really a discussion, it was me yelling at you earlier today that this customer needs a small bracket for a turbo inlet for a V8.
Yep.
And you know, we talked about, okay, here's the cost on it, here's how much we have to charge them, and then here's shipping, and it comes out to this, and then we usually email them back and say, okay, it's gonna be $15, here you go. And then I started thinking like, okay, if the cost on something for a small bracket is $1.50 or like $3, maybe we just eat that cost. Maybe we just say, hey, just have the bracket, you know, maybe pay for shipping because that's a charge, it's gonna be $7, $8.
Yep.
But my mind immediately, as an enthusiast, goes to like, I don't really wanna pay for a $2 bracket, just give me the bracket.
Yep.
And so that might be something we can do with some parts, or at least the fact that we're considering it is, I don't know, I think something that most people don't.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on. When Subaru eventually moves on from the WX or BRZ, do you see Overtake transitioning more into Overland with Forester, Crosstreks, or anything else?
Yeah, I think you have to adapt to whatever Subaru throws at us. However, my focus right now over the next, near term is backfilling. So we got a lot of GC, a lot of GD guys. Everybody's forgetting about us. They're dropping parts. Subaru themselves are dropping parts, right? And so making sure that we have a full offering for all generations is extremely important.
Yep.
All of us talk about this, not just me. We're all on the support them all, make sure the GD guys can get all these parts, make sure the GC guys can get these parts, etc. And so my focus is on that. But yes, I have no idea what Subaru is going to do. We have news coming out tonight, tomorrow?
Yes, so tonight at 10:30 p.m., I already have it scheduled in. I'm going to be up and watching the live stream of Japan Mobility Show.
Okay, so maybe that'll give us a hint. But the long story short is Subaru's been on top for so long with enthusiast vehicles, right? It's now been 30-ish years of cars out there. And at that volume, 10, 20, 30,000 a year, right?
There's millions of them out there.
Yes, right. And so that'll sustain a company like ours for a long time. And so to me, it's making sure we have a full suite of products for current and past generations, so that if anything happens in the future, like Subaru just says, all right, we're done with enthusiast cars, then we can still have a job to do this in something we love so much. Right. As far as overland and off-road stuff, of course, like we would adapt to that. In this shop, we have some of those guys, right? And so that's easy for us to do. We know how to design parts. We know what we want. We've been in it, so.
Well, I've got a perfect example of a specific item. One of the first things we put out for VA and VB is high-lift hood struts, and those have been one of our best-selling products. Yeah. And so naturally, we went back and backfilled GD, GR, Forester, BRZ FRS, and so we just introduced those a couple weeks ago, and those have been good sellers. And now it's like, what's left over? Well, there's older models, there's GC Imprezas, but then there's Crosstreks and Outbacks and all that stuff.
Exactly.
And so it only makes sense for us to just start filling those voids, because that's a universal part. Everyone can use it. Doesn't matter if it's a turbo car, non-turbo, track car, off-road, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So that's good for business, but it's also good for the community, which kind of goes back to the past question, is you don't want to ignore older models. And out of the guys that work here, we've got a GC Impreza, we've got an SG Forester, we got another SG Forester, a 97
Yeah, we have the old stuff covered. These guys hear me go, can you, for the love of God, buy some newer stuff, guys? So at least you have something that within the last 10 years.
You guys need to buy more parts so we can get paid more so that we can buy newer models. I'd love a 2028 STI wagon that's going to be announced tonight, so eventually. Okay, what can we expect from the Subi scene in the Minnesota Twin Cities area in the future? Any events coming up? I'll touch on the events part because this was posted a few weeks prior to this past weekend's event.
It's an amazing event.
It was an awesome event. We did a season closer with Drive Cartel. If you guys are local, I'm sure you know them. They put on some of the best shows in the area, and they partnered with us for this season closer. We didn't really know what to expect, just because our audience is still growing, and even though this is the local crowd, you never know how many people are going to show up. You do an event in the end of October, and you get 30 cars here. Yeah, I was worried about
weather and
you never know.
Here.
The weather was awesome. The vibes were awesome. We did kind of a Halloween trunk or treat type thing. And then Drive Cartel brought in a ton of non-Subaru builds, which were crazy. There was like an old Cobra here. There was a bunch of stanced out car Lexuses and VIP stuff. It was just a really cool, varied crowd, along with a ton of Overtake bannered Subarus all lined up in front of our shop. So that event was amazing. If you guys want to see it, I'll throw a link in the description for all the photos that are dropping right now. There's a ton of them. And I mean, I can't really think of a better way to end the year for events.
Yeah, and I think what everybody locally here knows, but maybe not a lot of people on the national scene, is we lost two big companies when our old company and MA Performance relocated.
At the same time, within like
roughly
months.
The same time. So we and MA Performance were putting on a majority of the Subaru specific events, right? Yeah. And so when we both got moved out of here, we lost all that. Yeah. So part of this, we've talked about it even before we knew what we were doing, was what can we do to get to help embrace our local Subaru scene here too, and car scene. And so I know we're super swamped, you especially, with national events and even local or regional events. And so we only had two local events here, the opener and then the closer. But like we used to do, in my head, it's these after hours once a month, Thursday evening or whatever it is in the summer. Open our doors, have people here, grill stuff out, that kind of stuff.
And we're going to do more of that into next season. And as we grow our team, then we're going to be able to hit the national shows and do a little bit more local stuff.
I think people don't understand the intensity of the Subi Fest series.
It's a lot.
Trying to do your day job, right, with also flying in and out and having everything. I mean, it's a lot for a small team, but we made it work this year. You guys did great. We did great. So
yeah, it's awesome. We have one more event to go, Florida in December, and then you're not going to hear me complaining about the off season for a while. Okay, next question. When it comes to RD, how much time does it usually take to recoup production costs, and how often is the time goal hit once the product goes into market?
Yeah, I had this question a few times this last weekend at the closer event, or a variation of it. So how long, for one? Well, what's the one we just talked about in our product development meeting? It was, let's see, can we talk about it for one? Something started in, it was a EJ turbo inlet. So it should be simple, right? We never did it at the old company though.
Right.
And so it was new for us, but that type of product is not new for us, a silicone hose.
Yeah,
with
but this
outlets.
is the most complicated silicone piece we've ever made.
Yeah.
By far.
But it's well within our capability, right? That, we actually started that, let's do this product last December. It's almost November right now.
Yeah,
And
coming up
we
on a year.
are launching it right now. And so that is when you're trying to tweak everything so it's perfect, it takes that time. I've talked before about the turbo inlet for the VA, something we have made before. The engineer that has made it 10 years ago has made it now for Overtake, and that still took 8 or 9 months. And so we keep notes on every single project. We have a timeline of notes, so I can go back and look, like, how long did this take? And it is at least double to triple the length that you think it would take, and it's all reasonable things. Nobody's slacking. It's like, do this, wait for this supplier, wait for this. So many things get involved with it, and so it just takes a really long time, which is our old joke is we're always last to market at the old company, right?
Yeah.
And there is a reason for that. There are much quicker ways to get out a VA intake. There is. We could just have a fab guys coming down and just say, hey, make one fit here.
Right.
That's really easy. Like, that could be done in a day. We have our standard 3-inch filter, boom. But that's not how we do things. It's really from the ground up, and so it just takes a long time.
Yeah, I think the intake's a great example of we were working on initial ideas and designs that we've scrapped now.
Yeah.
And we started with a totally different version. So maybe you have 3 months into nothing.
Yeah, I think the VA intake we're talking about, because we just left a meeting talking about it right before filming this, but it was, I think we're 3 or 4 months in. We were doing a similar approach to what we did before because it worked so well. It was a big seller, and but we ended up scrapping that. Not that we know the key components that we need to keep the same, but the design style and how we're manufacturing it in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And so we had 4 months of engineering, granted not full-time engineering time, but 4 months of time, and then we started over. And so it could be we have almost 300 hours into engineering right now on this intake, and we're still in design.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea of how much cost there is. We're at 300 hours for an intake, and we're still in design.
Right.
Like we're 3D printing prototypes, but that's where we're at.
We haven't hit production or anything yet.
No.
But I do want to touch on that is production costs, because on social media, one of the most frequent general questions I get is, why aren't you making this? Or are you going to make this specific item? And the first thing that enters my mind is, well, how long is it going to take to engineer? What kind of costs are associated with that? And then what are even like tooling costs for something? So one thing comes to mind is the plastic caps for your reservoirs under the bay. Now that's one of those things that we've been requested a ton.
Seems like an easy no-brainer.
Seems like an easy thing. Yeah. But when you start looking into minimum order quantity on something like that, tooling costs, it might take you 5 years to recoup your expenses on it.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah, and I mean, you're not coming out with one cap, right? You're coming out with 8 different versions to fit a variation of cars, models, and all of a sudden, for 5 years, we might not make $1 on this.
Yep.
And so you have to take that into account, and it's not to say we don't want to make these, it just right now isn't in the cards for the company to be able to take a gamble like
and
that.
just look at the other company. we knew people wanted that for years and years and years. And how many years in did it take for us to finally go, okay, we have enough money as an insurance policy to afford this.
Yeah.
Now we can do it. And so, there's a massive amount of money behind certain types of products.
Right.
This tooling. And so you can't, we're talking about design here. Even like this particular product, there's going to be some tooling, like more than a normal expensive tooling. You can't screw it up the first time. It needs to be spot on. And so it is a massive capital money suck on our end. And if I had unlimited engineers to do products, we still don't have unlimited money to do it.
Right.
So
I mean, there you go. That's the advantage of an established business is they can more confidently throw a bunch of money and take on debt because they know.
Yeah, like your caps that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Is 4 or 5 plastic caps, you might have 25 grand in tooling for the little tiny plastic cap. For
Just tooling.
Just tooling.
Yeah.
That's And so, and then you might have MOQs, which are, if you, let's say you have a supplier for this particular product might have, you need to buy at least 5,000 of these. Like, okay, well, we're going to have that for 5 years.
And then you're selling kits for $70 for a kit because no one's paying $300.
Yep.
And so how many do you have to sell at $70 to pay back all of the costs to start profiting? Then you're talking about years, years and years.
And that's where the long-term approach, this isn't like a short-term moneymaker.
Yeah.
It's building out the foundation. We're doing it in hyperspeed here, but building out the foundation is super important, and that's the mode we're in.
You got to work smarter and harder.
Yeah, which has been fun.
Yeah. This is kind of in the same realm of production, but plans for stuff for the second gen BRZ 86.
My number one plan here is to get this guy to buy one.
And my number one plan is to not be broke and have enough money to buy one.
Which means, how does Justin pay for it for me?
Exactly. You heard it on camera. Justin's going to pay for my BRZ or 86.
Yeah, definitely. We pinned that at the beginning of what, if we're going to focus on a few things at the very beginning, it's VA, VB, of course, right? And then, but what's next as far as volume in that second gen BRZ 86 was.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. We're all excited about them as individuals, enthusiasts, as personal cars, but the market is excited about them. I mean, I had Kevin from Driven Media on my mind because he put in an order for some Overtake parts for his website, but he's made an entire huge business over 86 BRZ and FRSs.
Yep.
And I mean, you just take a look at one video that he's posted or any of his social media and just how many enthusiasts are hungry for upgrades to their cars, visual stuff, performance stuff, underbody. Like, that is a whole different world that we're just tapping on that door.
Yeah.
And we can get into that. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful car. I think they did great work with the tweaks to aesthetically.
Yeah.
I think it's almost perfect right now.
The power increase to the second gen.
Power increase. Most owners are like, I love this car.
Yeah.
It's a driver's car. It's light. It's nimble. It's fun. It looks pretty. So, I mean, you're seeing a lot of it in motorsports now. Not just recently, but for a while now, it's growing in popularity in actual racing. So, which is amazing to see. It got a slow start at the beginning, but now it's pretty.
And we're kind of hitting a sweet spot too, because first gens are becoming cheap enough, and they've blown up or been crashed where people are swapping different things in. So now you're seeing them drag racing, you're seeing them drifting, road course, stance shows. Even I've seen off-road BRZs. So those are kind of everywhere. And then the second gen is such a nice car in its stock format, and then you start upgrading it slowly, and eventually they'll age into a point where you can do some more crazy stuff with them and do engine swaps and whatever. So the future's super bright for this platform, and we should be in it. Almost second to last question, do you think they're bringing back the STI? This again was asked before the news that came out.
Like, we get to find out tonight, maybe.
Yeah. What do you think after what we've been talking about?
I think they are. Nobody knows anything, so it's just a guess.
Yeah.
Because
we know, actually, I'll go one step further. We know they're at least, I was going to say we know where they're bringing back the STI.
Well,
we know they're putting out 2 concept cars of the STI.
Yeah.
And my mind goes to, why would they put out a combustion STI concept if it wasn't going to go into production?
I don't know. I wish they leaked things more.
I know. Subaru's too tight-lipped about their stuff, unfortunately,
But I do. I've seen, there's been some quotes from the CEO about, I understand what you guys want, for lack of better words. And so in my head, it's, find a way to do it. And a hybrid setup or the full electric, that's a way to do it. And I think we all are going to have to adapt to that. And I think we'll actually ultimately probably really like it as much as, I mean, the performance alone. You saw we were talking to John right at Flatirons, and he was just he was so excited about having an electric STI just because from performance alone and how fast they'll be. And so I think there'll be an adoption period. Hopefully it looks really cool because that will help. Because we're all used to these new generations, and we all go, oh my God, this is the ugliest generation ever. And then it all grows on us. And the VB is still growing on people, and I don't know if it ever will fully, but like the VA is pretty well liked and previous. But hopefully maybe this next one will be awesome out of the box.
I think it will. If there's anything that I'm confident in, is it's not going to look like a bland Tesla with an STI badge.
Yeah.
I think it's going to have the cues and the angular parts that we've kind of known Subarus for. I mean, I'm looking at the VA right here, and there's vents, and there's angles, and there's side skirts, and there's all sorts of cool stuff. So they're not known for just making a flat sedan. I think there are enough aesthetic cues that's going to make it unique and beloved in the community. So it's only a matter of time. And then another thought I was having is, it seems like we always have this fight between combustion or all electric. But I say the world's big enough for both.
Yeah.
And if all combustion cars stop today and we switch entirely to electric, we'll have decades. I mean, my lifetime will still be filled with combustion cars. And
I think that how they presented it as one combustion, one electric, or at least one hybrid, one electric.
They said the STI, it was the B concept, and
that's the only combustion.
Combustion only, and then the other one's electric, full electric is what they said.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but I think that's kind of a smart move because you're going to have enthusiasts going, I don't want electric, and then you're going to have a bunch of enthusiasts going, this is amazing. It does 0 to 60 in this.
What I think they're doing is they're showing us the next 6 years. Basically, what they're saying is the combustion STI maybe will drop in 2 years as a production car, and then what's the lifespan? Let's say 4 to 5 years on that chassis, and towards the end, the middle or the end of that lifespan is when they introduce the full EV. Then there's probably an overlap for enthusiasts that go, I don't want the EV garbage, I'm going to buy this last combustion run. And then eventually they'll have to make that switch, and in the 2030s, it's probably going to be an all-electric STI, and there may not be a WRX, and it might be all off-road wilderness and Outbacks and Forsters. It's going to be an interesting world, but we'll always have the cars that we have now. Obviously, they'll crash out a little bit, but I mean, if we still have 93 Imprezas that we can purchase today.
Well, think of the amount of GC love we get. Like, make more GC. This VB is an amazing platform. That FA24. So we're only a few years in. We're not 30 years. I mean, we're going to be working on this car for the next 20, 30 years, right? And be excited about it still. So
that's called job security. Last question kind of circles back. We can just make it really, really quick. Do you have an Overtake cold air intake coming for the 2019 STI? Let's just say VA chassis. Let's broaden that. We talked a lot about intakes. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know the top sellers, the most popular fitments for the full intakes. So it's coming. Like I said, we switched up how we've done it historically as far as the manufacturing and material. Speaking of materials is very different, and so that's taking some time. But all of our intakes going forward, I believe, will be the same way, and so it's just going to take some time. We got to get the first one under our belt, and then we can basically unload from there on the rest and start prototyping.
Exactly right. I put a bonus question on here.
Yeah,
Number 11, are you hiring? Because I hear this a lot, especially at our open house or season closer this past weekend.
Okay, I'll name a couple of things. So comment or messages we have. One is another art.
There is no other art.
Well, you can be a protege of art.
A mini-me.
Mini-me. So that's never going to, art's one of a kind, and we're lucky to have them. But what I mean by we need another art is somebody awesome with customer service that gets it. Somebody that's social, that can create a conversation and like if somebody comes to our show here, right? You're talking to them, you made their experience better because you were really engaged with them in a genuine manner, right? So that's one thing. We're always looking for that. Engineers, I've talked about this in a couple of videos ago, right? So engineers that can go through the whole engineering process. They're not just stuck in testing or manufacturing, they're the whole thing. That think outside the box, that I can say, all right, we've identified we want to do this product, go, and can do that whole thing. That's a major challenge to find engineers that can actually do that, and are also in here Subaru guys. It helps to have a Subaru guy. It doesn't have to be, but it certainly helps what we're trying to do here at this stage. And then what else? Something that's easy would be somebody that loves being engaged on social media. So whether it's answering questions on Facebook or just commenting about products, somebody that doesn't necessarily need to be in this building, but we can hire out project-based or 5 hours a week, posting on social media, answering questions. This type of person has to have a deep knowledge of the Subaru community and our parts and everybody else's parts and how they go together, because at the end of the day, that person isn't out there to hawk our products. That's not the intent. The intent is contribute to the community in a meaningful way. So that's somebody we would hire right now.
Well, you're talking about me 13 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, because the way I started at the old company was I was in college in La Crosse, Wisconsin, so about 3.5 hours away from here, and I sent in a resume to Justin saying, hey, I'm graduating in a year. Do you have a spot for me? And he basically said, well, why don't we start you off with some, at the time, Naziok postings, so kind of like social media responses would be now. And I would sit there in class and respond to those in real time. And I was an enthusiast. I kind of knew what I was talking about. I was learning along the way, but that really initiated me to get in with the company, and it put me on a growth path to get to this place. Yep. So it is it's kind of a tough thing to find, surprisingly enough, but there's a lot of value in someone that is a bit of a go-getter when it comes to communication, and they want to use their skills and enthusiasm in order to kind of prove themselves that they could be a long-term part of the company.
Yeah, and I think it has to be being genuinely committed to our Subaru community is one of the most important. It's that and being a social person and understanding how to make people feel like they're listened to, and so that's something I would hire right now, because if you exist out there, if you know somebody, like, oh my gosh, Joe Schmo in our West Virginia Subaru club is the most outgoing dude. He knows so much. He would be perfect for this. Message us. We will talk to you. We need that help. We're looking for those type of people. So. And
this is another thing I want to touch on, which is there's a crossroads when companies grow, because when you first start out an individual business, the communication is relatively slow. You might get an email overnight, maybe an order or two over the weekend, and then that turns into 5 orders and 10 orders, and the communication starts getting more and more. And eventually, companies will get to a point where there's so much communication on social media especially, that they just stop all communication. So they go from everything to nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that that's actually really normal. That's probably the typical thing that a company would do. Now, emails might be a little bit different. Direct emails come in and you kind of have to answer all of them. But we're thinking the other way, which is, okay, we've gotten overwhelmed. We obviously have enough messages to now where we need to bring in somebody else to get to that next level. And then when they get overwhelmed, you bring in another person, and then that's when you create a customer service, sales, and marketing department where 3, 5, 8 people are working and every single message gets answered. Yep. That's best case scenario.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, what was the hardest part about what you did at the old company? And I mean, there's not a single answer to that. But one thing is we call it the secret sauce, which is what we're talking about right now. Being genuinely committed, being here, being customers ourselves, being advocates for all of us in this community of acting like we want other companies to act, right? And so one thing is knowing what that is in all the different departments, engineering and customer service and all this stuff, knowing what the secret sauce is of being a really good company. That's a challenge. I don't think it's a challenge for guys like you and me. It just comes naturally. This is how we do things. This is how we want to operate. So challenge 1, what is it that you need to do tangibly to be a really good company that people want to buy parts from and support? The second is, as you grow, maintaining that. And that is a lot longer and more challenging problem, is as you grow, and it's you're successful, so you have all these new problems, and it's maintaining your core values. And like we did on the board, almost a year ago in here, of what are our core values, and we went through that. It's literally my job to watch over it, like let's say 5 or 10 years or 20 years, and there's 50 of us, right? That we are still doing the exact same thing that the 4 or 5 of us said we wanted to do back in 2020, end of 2024, right? And so long-term sustainability of those core traits are what made our old company the way it was. And you're seeing kind of, you know, the other side of that now in the last few years that we have experienced, which is unfortunate. But it's a challenge, but one we like to take on. So
Well, and use the word problem and now use the word challenge. And one problem and challenge we have is we can't shut the hell up. And so these 15-minute videos turn into 45 minutes.
It's okay. Everybody only watches the first 11 minutes anyway.
That's fine. That's all we need to get the view and hopefully the follow. So if you guys stuck around this long, thank you very much. We enjoy doing these little Q&A sessions.
Ask questions.
Yeah,
in the
put them down in the
please.
comments, of course, and hopefully it doesn't take us another 6 months. But on the other hand, maybe these are once every 6 months videos where we sit down, we talk for 45 minutes, and then otherwise you guys get to see on all our other social media platforms a condensed version of it. We do our monthly diaries where the 3 of us, whoever it may be, sit down on the couch and talk about what happened the month prior. Obviously, we have our 60 second to 2-minute videos that we post pretty often about updates in the shop. So just make sure you're following at Overtake USA across all our social media platforms. Make sure you're sharing stuff around, putting the hashtag Overtake USA in. And of course, just if you have the money, going on our website, overtakeusa.com, and picking up some product and checking back in frequently, because every couple of weeks, definitely every month, we're going to have new products listed on there. So you guys can continue supporting us. It's not just a one and done purchase type situation. So again, thank you for paying attention. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.